Hello there. Today in this video I'm going to talk about self-care. And it's not perhaps the typical kind of self-care that maybe you hear about, because this self-care is for the shadow self. That part of ourselves that we judge, reject, push away, hide, maybe we feel embarrassed about, ashamed about, you name it. And it's that shadow. So I'm going to talk about why it's so important to take care of the shadow self and some tips on how to do it. So stay tuned. So if you like this video, give it a like. You can also subscribe and press the bell if you'd like to be notified every time I upload a video. And if you have any questions or if you'd just like to chat, you can comment in the section below. So first off, why take care of the shadow self? Why is it so important to have self-care for the shadow self? And the reason, simple reason, is that the shadow self is part of who we are. It's part of us. And if we're really going to have self-care, we need to take care of all of us. The parts that hurt, the parts that we've pushed away, the parts that we've judged, the parts that we've disowned. And until we really do that, we aren't able to perform at our full capacity. So shadow self-care is a way of bringing ourselves back into alignment so that we can be living at our fullest potential. That's why we take care of our shadows. So the first tip for shadow self-care is to send it love. Now this might feel easy or it might feel really tricky for you. But it's important to remember that these shadows within us are actually coming from younger parts, of ourselves, from times when we were younger. And they're typically places that were judged or rejected or somehow made to feel wrong or ashamed, and they need love. And so when we give these places love, we help them begin to neutralize the uncomfortable judgments. We begin to neutralize those uncomfortable judgments about the shadow self. And that's one of the many very important steps in bringing our shadows into alignment with, who we are right now. So loving your shadow in whatever way you can, maybe visualizing surrounding that part of yourself with love, or hugging yourself when you're bringing up that shadow self. And by bringing up a shadow self, I mean maybe that helpless part of you, or that rejected part of you, or the angry part of you that feels like you never get a break. Whatever that shadow is, or the shadow that wants to act out, is to get in touch with that shadow and to surround it with love. Okay, so the next tip I'm going to share is to dialogue with your shadow and to really, kind of treat your shadow as if it's a person. And maybe in a journal to write a letter or to write back and forth, so that your shadow says something and you respond, and you have like a little dialogue going on. Talking to your shadow in some way to acknowledge, I see you. What do you want? How can I help you? Why are you here right now? These are all ways to bring your shadow out of the shadows into a place of light where you can understand it more deeply. And when you understand your shadow more deeply, you can do things to help your shadow. So the final tip I'm going to share with you today is to bring forgiveness to your shadow self. So because our shadows are places that we hide, and typically they're surrounded by feelings of guilt or shame or embarrassment, forgiveness is a really effective tool to help them heal. And so Ho'oponopono is a really wonderful tool to use with your shadow. Ho'oponopono, if you've never heard of it, is a Hawaiian prayer, and it's used to forgive anything and everything and anyone. And the way that you do it is to bring something to mind, a person or a part of yourself that maybe you feel unforgiveness towards. And you say the words, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And you repeat this phrase over and over and over again until you feel some sort of a release. And so Ho'oponopono is something you can use for maybe a shadow that perhaps you did something wrong, you made a mistake, you acted out in some way that you really truly regret or feel ashamed about. You can bring that shadow self to mind and say the words, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. Repeating the phrase until you feel some sort of relief. And for more information about Ho'oponopono, you can Google it. It's really a fascinating tool and perfect for shadow work. Thank you for joining me today. And if you're interested in learning more about shadow work, please see my video, Why Shadow Work is Key for Inner Peace. I'll see you soon. Goodbye for now.